Danny Jones begins the second half with a 24 points to 6 lead in Halifax's favour. That could have been a lot more, but Halifax passes sticking a lot better in the second 20 minutes of the first half. And London will do well to hang on the shirt tails of Halifax now as the confidence grows. But that's a good ball inside. But then the ball comes loose off Mike Castle just inside the Halifax half. Like he took a knock in the stomach there, immediate attention for him. Jody Sharif brought down on the 40. Did well to keep hold of the ball there. Jones runs the dummy on the inside. Dave Larder is immediately wrapped up by Singleton, gets back on his feet. He must be about 6'7". Must the London Scholars captain, big fella. Spinks takes the inside pass and he's almost away, pumping the legs off Ben Black. Wisner, long ball out to Sharif. And Sharif, well, has worse to say about Wisner's pass there. Perhaps a bit optimistic as the men were overrunning the ball. Once again it sails into touch off a fairly fluent move as Halifax took the ball back into the London Scholars half. And a good run from Andy Spink as well. Oh, big tackle there from Spink and Blackwood on Andrew Goulet. And once again, Scholars forced to kick the ball downfield with Coleman. Gibson goes back to retrieve it. Looks for Ailey and then decides to take the tackle. Look for the pass to Ailey. Had a little look at Sharif, who was too far away. And almost lost the ball then. It's brought down by 3 on the 20. Once again, there's slow to get up. Andy Spink to Jody Sharif. Jones back to the left-hand side. Good ball to Adcroft. And Adcroft almost looking at the option of the pass there, but a third man in to bring down the Halifax centre. Wisner to Larder. And Larder shows the dummy, takes it over halfway. Halifax on the last tackle for this set. Black will just dab one over the top, and it all depends on the bounce, which it's come up for Wisner. Wisner to Fisher, and Fisher will score his first Halifax try. Well, Wisner putting the backspin on the kick and supporting numbers there, but it was the hooker, Ben Fisher.
Number 9, Ben Fisher.
Fisher, the hooker, scampering in from 15 metres away, and Halifax turned nothing into something there, thanks to Pat Wisner backspin on the ball. And it probably could have been any one of 4 that scored that one. And Jones has got his easiest kick, but nothing to convert with. Let's wait for the ball to come onto the field. Danny Jones should move Halifax on to 30 from in front of the post.
And converting the try, sponsored by the Moore Hockey, number 6, Danny Jones. Current score, Halifax 30, London Scholars 6.
So a third conversion for Danny Jones. 50% effort from the standoff this afternoon, with 3 conversions from 6 tries, and James Bunyan has made the mistake, which has given Scholars the immediate advantage. I don't think he positioned himself quite correctly under the ball. Quick hands out to Gareth Honor. Honor gets it away to Goulet. The tackles made on the 10-metre line. Halifax desperate in defence. Honor pass away to Alan Baker. Baker stopped 3 metres away. Halifax are very short in defence. If there's a long ball out here, could cause problems. But Pittman opts for the power. He's brought down 3 metres away. Halifax are they still light now. They're moving men across to bring down Tim G, the sole scorer so far in the London Broncos side. Chip through. Gibson picks it out of the air. Nathan Mischke with the chip through. Bounced up perfectly for Gibson, although he had to be in the right position. Hadcroft spotted a little gap there. Scholars did quick to close it up. Sharif spotted the same gap and went for it and made important yards for Halifax. Andy Spink, Halifax pouring forward up to halfway. And Matt Pittman taking exception there to Andy Spink and throwing a couple of punches at the Halifax second rower, who did retaliate but only had one hand as he was canning the ball with the other one. I'm not sure the referee had shouted held prior to that happening, but the 3 London defenders were trying to force Spink back, and after consultation with the touch judge, Matt Pittman will be spoken to initially. Well, no doubt Spink threw a punch, so whether he'll have a word with Halifax or not, I'm not sure. Isn't well, he's going to do, but why not speak to them both at the same time? Both guilty of the same offence, but it looks like it may be Halifax's penalty, if only by virtue of the fact that the London man threw more punches. And Wisner opts for the tap. Black gives it to Blackwood, who was stopped initially by the Halifax scrum half as he came back on the inside. Ben Black didn't seem to get out of the way quick enough. Spink has another go, and once again there's 3 men there. Put him down just inside the Scholars half. Jones pops the ball up, and Wisner was the man that took it. Jones once again, great ball out there to Larder, who's only ankle tapped, unable to get back to his feet to play the ball. And London slow to get up away from the man that tackled it once again. Wisner pops it up for Jody Sharif, and Sharif looked for the pass, but nobody running off his shoulder. Ben Black, great ball out to Bunyan. Bunyan in for his second, no problem for the centre. Still had to be scored, and looked as though it might just have lost control of that, but managed to take the ball in and step inside 2 London defenders.
Number 3, James Bunyan.
And James Bunyan keeps the scoreboard clicking over with his second try. Halifax's 7th of the afternoon, matching the number of tries he scored last week at the New River Stadium. Kick to come from Jones, and it looks as Halifax may be surpassing the score of last week. .34 already, and still about half an hour to go. And that would have been the current total would have been much bigger had Danny Jones been more successful with the boot. That one is drifting inside the post, and so Danny Jones has found his range.
Now converts the try, sponsored by the Moorcock Inn, number 6, Danny Jones.
Well, he found the range after the first failure at London last week. It's taken him a bit longer this time, but if Halifax keep rattling the tries up, then possibly now Danny Jones might keep adding on the twos. As Ben Black loses it, James Haley, alert to it, picks it up on his bootlaces, almost. Wisner, I think Bunyan, sorry, trying to run the ball out. Wisner stood on the other side of the field. Sharif to the 20. Fisher to Jones. Now Wisner out to Adcroft. Adcroft steps inside the Scholars' defence for following the winger. Good ball back inside to Larder. Larder gets it away to Fisher. Fisher on his way for his second, is it? No, but he's got support from Wisner. Well, that's what Anthony Farrell expected. He said more expansive rugby. Well, you can't get more expansive and fluent. Can't get more expansive and flowing than going the virtually the full length of the field. Halifax started on the near side of the field with Bunyan running it out, but Adcroft left the London defence wondering what he was going to do. They went for the wrong option, went out for the winger, and it looks like Fisher was on his way to his second, but Wisner on his shoulder, and Halifax have reached the 40, and London are looking at a dishevelled side now, and they're going to have a lot to contend with in the time that remains in this game. And Jones once again obliges with a 2, and the Halifax score moves on, and it's Halifax 42, London Scholars 6.
Sponsored by Moorcocky, number 6, Danny Jones. Current score Halifax 42, London Scholars 6. Halifax substitution supported by Mortgage Search UK, replacing number 6, Danny Jones, and number 9, Ben Fisher, number 14, Wayne Corcoran, and number 15, Gareth Greenwood.
Well, a change there with Danny Jones going off, and Ben Fisher to be replaced by Gareth Greenwood. And Wayne Corcoran, who helped himself to 18 points in the midweek Alliance victory over Keighley. Once again missed the trip to London last week with a back injury. So if the opportunity arises, good kick by Haley. Well, it's back inside, and Ben Black is going to touch down for Halifax under the post. Haley knew that he wasn't going to get to that one. It was always bobbling away for him, kicked it back in field, and Ben Black was there on the chase to kick more or less straight from the kick-off, really. And Wayne Corcoran is immediately called into action to continue the kicking duties. Well, the way things are at the moment, Wayne Corcoran, Danny Jones kicked 5, and Wayne Corcoran might also get that opportunity. Halifax once again fluent upfield, and James Haley really just a speculator to kick the ball back inside, but the Scholars had nobody there, and Ben Black was the first man there to touch down.
Current score Halifax 48, London Scholars 6.
And Jermaine Coleman it will be that kicks the ball back to Halifax, and he's taking it as long as he can. He's trying to
substitution. Sorry, London Scholar substitution. Replacing
Probably trying to eat up some seconds on the clock.
Kurt Pittman.
Wayne Corcoran underneath to Anthony Blackwood. Good chase from the Scholars as Ailey scoots away from acting half. Scholars with the back turned when he actually got up then. Andy Spink through the middle and almost stepping his way out of the tackle, and Halifax have men over on the left hand side again. Greenwood comes back, gives it to Blackwood, and Blackwood taking it out of the London defence with that run. Black to Wisner. Wisner steps back inside. It's popped up for Halifax, but then it's knocked on, and it's London 17 Dave Brown who picks the ball up. Singleton still carrying the ball forward strongly for the Scholars. Needs more effort from his teammates like that, but that's a tremendous tackle on Goulet from Greenwood and Corcoran, the two Halifax replacements. Nathan Meesky, I think, was it? No, it's Alan Baker running the ball up now. London try to be a bit more expansive, but Coleman runs into trouble on the Halifax 40. Honor kicks over the top. Sharif funnels back to retrieve it, but he did knock it backwards, says the referee. The Broncos defence try and force him back further towards his own line. Gibson inside to Spink. Gibson up again from acting half, and he's made a lot of yards from this afternoon as a full back as Sharif tries to get through. It takes 4 men to stop him. He's made it up to the 40. Black with another kick, seeing no full back at home, and that one sails straight out on the full. So the London Scholars will get possession in the Halifax half, I think, for the first time in the second half with his scrum. Tim G driving forward. Gibson meeting him head on. Kurt Pittman from acting half takes the Scholars back to within 20 metres of the Halifax line. Honor turns it inside to Goulet. Scholars looking for the second try. Coleman put to the ground by Wisner, 12 metres out. Singleton brought down 5 metres away. It's the last tackle again for the Scholars. Coleman to G. G with a little chip through, picked up by Gibson. And Gibson once again clears Halifax's line, brings it back 12 metres. Adcroft looks to make more, and he's dragged by Dave Brown, clinging onto the collar. Sharif to the 40 and still pumping and getting an extra 5 metres out of the run. Wisner to Dave Larder, who gets to halfway. Scholars still putting 3 and 4 men in the tackle. Toby Hall injured in that one as Ben Black gets it away to Wayne Corcoran, out to Blackwood. Blackwood with support inside and out, gets it back inside to Corcoran, and Wayne Corcoran pops it up for Gareth Greenwood. Well, Wayne Corcoran probably could have got himself there, but Greenwood over, and that's a 10th try for Halifax. Another fluent move, starting with Ben Black down this side, and once again it's this left hand side of the London defence that's being punished and holding off Halifax, turning the ball back inside. And Corcoran unselfishly putting over Gareth Greenwood under the post, and Halifax hit the half century. Halifax 52, London Scholars 6. And Wayne Corcoran obliging with his second conversion to the 9th Halifax try scorer of the afternoon, Gareth Greenwood. Halifax matching the 5 tries they scored in the first half. So Coleman with a long kick. Gibson shouting and collecting the ball out of the air. Well, he's played more of a dual role as Damien Gibson this afternoon at full-backs here in Halifax's line. And at acting half, taking the ball forward, helping the forwards out of the 20-metre line. Bolts back on for Dave Larder. Jody Sharif looking for a gap, gets it away to Greenwood, and then on to Ben Black. Ben Black shows the ball, turns it, will try to turn it inside. Adcroft will go back to pick it up, and Adcroft will give it to Bolts. Bolts to Corcoran, and Corcoran will settle it down and take the tackle just short of the 40-metre line. Bunyan shows it and goes, shrugging off players, gets it to Ailey with open space, and it needed Ashley Tozer, who's moving a bit there to bring down the Halifax winger. Ben Black unable to take the pass from Wise. It was dipping as it went towards him. The last tackle, so the Scholars get it on the turnover. Ben Black going for the steal there, I think, as he made the tackle. That's a good hit from Jody Sharif, knocking Alan Baker back in the process. Shouts a forward pass as Toby Hall went onto that ball with some power. Well, that'll be a knock on, surely. Just threw the ball away then, the prop forward, never even made an attempt to get up and play it. Wisner, Bunyan, tackled by 2, 30 metres out from the Broncos line as Wisner looks for options, and that is not the best one. Another long pass that's gone to ground, but it's bounced backwards, and Adcroft will pick it up. Sharif plays the ball quickly, but he's going to get he's going to be penalised for that because he never got up and played it properly. I think Ben Black just pushing Jody Sharif away there as he argued the referee's decision. Scholars not making too many yards even from the kick. Singleton runs it forward and Sharif's the first man in to stop the London Scholars captain. Well, trying to put the move together, throwing the cut out passes, but Bunyan hammers Jermaine Coleman just inside the Halifax half. Goulet will be put down by Bolts and turned over onto his back. Well, winger Tozer on his own down this side. Couldn't expect much there. He had 2 defenders waiting for him. And, scrum half Gareth Honor goes for the glory again, brought down 12 metres away on the last tackle. G crossfield kick, pressure on Sharif. Sharif gets it, knocks it backwards. Ben Black does well to get away from his own try line. And there was a sharp intake of breath from the Halifax crowd there as Ben Black got the speed up, but the Scholars quick to regroup in defence and bring the scrum half down on the 10. All sorts of messing about the play of the ball there, with Ricky Sharif coming in to help the forwards out. Now brother Jody drives the ball up to the 30. Once again there's four London defenders there, and Corcoran gives it to Bunyan, and Bunyan loses the possession. Ran the angle, but it was a good hit in defence.
Replacing number 13, Pat Wisner. Number 6, Danny Jones.
Just under 15 minutes ago, Pat Wisner leaves the field. Danny Jones back on. Tozer moves in field. Adcroft chases him down. Sharif in hard, and it looks as though it's one of those games Halifax well and truly had the game sewn up at half time, but it looks as though it's going to fizzle out to the end in the last 15 minutes. Gareth Honor still trying to spark something out of the London Scholars, but unable to get the pass away. G inside to Coleman. Coleman pops it up for Honor. Honor out to Wayne Parrill on the prop, who's pumping the legs towards the Halifax line. And the London Scholars have got the ball down. They've got the second try. And reward there for the prop, who was pumping the legs. The Halifax defenders holding him.
London Scholars try scorer number 8, Parillon.
Parillon moves the Scholars into double figures with their second try of the game. It looks like Halifax home and nose and already in the showers as they've taken the foot off the gas. Another lesson for the London Scholars. They've struggled to progress into the knockout stages of this competition, although Halifax have got to play for the full 80 minutes as they face the tougher prospects of Hulkingston Rovers and Keighley, the other teams in this group. Not going to be as easy as the London Scholars. And Tim G adds his second conversion.
Number 6, Tim G.
Takes his personal total on to 8 of the London Scholars 12. And of course, I suppose with Halifax it's difficult to motivate yourself when you're 50 points or so in front. And really the game is won as far as Halifax are concerned, but London will play right to the full 80 minutes. We'll be looking for perhaps a little more reward in the last 12 or so minutes of this match. Ball comes off Adcroft, but did the well, he's going to give a knock on there. Well, the controversial rule again comes into play as Adcroft. The decision's been made that he actually went for the ball deliberately. Singleton off the back of the scrum again. Invites the winger Joe Price and the Scholars keeping the ball alive. Danny Jones and Bolts getting to make the tackle. Using the short side, it's Kurt Pittman, who makes 12 metres towards the Halifax line. Still plenty of shouts of encouragements within this London Broncos team as Greenwood manages somehow to miss the referee and get the ball away to Hadcroft. Jody Sharif pushing defenders off. Sharif on his way to the line, looks round for support, managed to push one defender off. But I think it was number 8, Parrell on the score, who got back. Ben Black shows the dummy. All too easy for the scrum half. Well, he's troubled London for long. He's troubled most defences, as Ben Black in his career in this country. And they really don't know what to do when he gets the ball.
Number 7, Ben Black.
Ben Black's second try of the afternoon. Takes Halifax nearer that 60-point mark. And I'm sure Wayne Corcoran once again from in front of the post will oblige. So Halifax have hit the ton over 2 weeks against what must be said much weaker opposition. And it could have been a lot more for Halifax, both last week and this week, but for handling errors. Well, I think the cold weather playing a part in that. And with Arctic conditions forecast for overnight and tomorrow in this area of the country, well, most areas of the country.
Wayne Corcoran. Halifax substitution supported by Mortgage Search UK, replacing number 3, James Bunyan, number 13, Pat Wisner.
And a quick return for Pat Wisner, changing for James Bunyan. About 7 minutes to go. Halifax 60, London Scholars 12. And Halifax rattle up another big score, and then Andy Spink takes his eye off the ball. Well, touch of complacency at this stage of the game. Halifax well in command. I think on a cold day like today they'll be glad to get in the showers after this match. With another 2 points sewn up, and there's cold hands from London Broncos as well.
This afternoon's official attendance is 1,329. 1,329. Thank you very much for your support this afternoon. This afternoon's cutting edge carpets, man of the match, goes to Halifax number 11, Dave Larder.
Sharif dancing about in front of the post, away from Singleton, who just managed to knock him off his balance.
Hitman, that goes to Halifax number 3, James Bunyan.
Scholars trying to restrict Halifax, as Ricky Sharif almost away there. Caught by prop Toby Hall. Jones misses out Corcoran. Goes to Blackwood, but it's gone forward, says the referee. I don't think the Halifax supporters agree with that, but once again, another mistake this game, finishing very similar to the one in London last week with lots of errors. The conditions nowhere near as bad as they were last week, but other than the cold wind, certainly conditions on the pitch nowhere near as bad as they were last week. As London pour forward again, Parrell looking for a second, keeping it alive. Goulet, it's brought down 18 metres away from the Halifax line. Pittman goes on his own. And to emulate the prop who scored the second try. Parallon, but can't get through. Not quite the size and strength of the prop forward. But London come back to the left-hand side. With Goulet once again, last tackle. London 5-6 metres away. Honor to Coleman. Little chip off the outside of the boot from Coleman. And Ben Black is forced towards the touchline and gets it back inside to Sharif. And Sharif looked as though he was going the same way as Ben Black. And then eventually goes to ground. Scholar still putting the pressure on Halifax near their own line. Damien Gibson once again drives it away for Halifax up to the 10-metre line. London player down injured as Ancroft fancies a run down the short side and makes 25 important metres for Halifax. Black will kick crossfield because there's nobody at home for London on this side of the field, and the centre is going to have trouble. Blackwood just unable to get fingers on it, and Adaria left on his own really there, and was mindful of the fact that there were 3 or 4 people behind him chasing him down. And Fisher back on for Anthony Blackwood.
Number 9, Ben Fisher.
And the ball is kept alive. Did it go forward, says the referee? It did. And none of the London players agree with him. And I'm not sure it went forward myself from up here. But Halifax will get the put in at the scrum, while London wait to make 2 more replacements. Scrum taking a long time to form as Ben Black gets it away to Wisner. And Wisner, well, Ailey came inside. Wisner thought he was stopping outside, but the London centre has dropped on, so Halifax will get 6 more tackles. Anthony Farrell back in his instructions to Ben Black. Well, London got the ball because Halifax, of course, made the first knock on. But London playing the ball quickly, moving forward with the hooker Pittman. Last tackle, and G will go for the crossfield kick again, which shouldn't cause too many problems, but it's bouncing awkwardly, and Sharif will have to run it out of the in-goal area. And it's a good job he stayed alert to that, because it looked as though for all the world it was going touching goal. Gibson away to Greenwood. Greenwood out to Haley. Haley fancies the outside, but trips. Wisner to Jason Bultz, who takes some putting down but goes down eventually. Another tackle from Matt Pittman. Good ball from Jones, out to Gibson, testing the defence, then gives it out to Sharif. Gibson to Sharif combination brought a try last week, not this week, as the ball is passed back inside, and Fisher is all down 2 metres outside the London 20. Black to Corcoran. Corcoran long ball out wide, misses out Wisner. Haley picks it up and manages to continue somehow on the last tackle. Black with the kick towards the post, but the ball diffused behind the London line. Looking for the quick play with Singleton, the captain. Good ball away, but Tim G is going to have to go on his own because he has no support whatsoever. He goes down 5 metres from halfway. Matt Pittman charging up strongly. Well, can't be long left now. Halifax defending, so that ball was lost then. Last tackle, Scholars 12 metres out. Will they have the last word before the hoot sound? Well, said that at half time, and they went, oh well, Halifax have been caught offside. End of the first half, Halifax went the length of the field when the Scholars were attacking. Well, it's been, wonder whether there's enough time to take this tap. Well, that's the end of the game. The Scholars have improved by 12 points from last week. Halifax have improved by 20 after the shaky start and rattled up 60 points. And most of them they did in 50 minutes of this game, really. But Halifax with a clutch of tries in the second half. 9 different try scorers this afternoon. Black with a brace in the second half. Fisher, Bunyan, Wisner and Greenwood also contributed tries in the second half. Corcoran came on and kicked 3 goals. Would have been more but for Danny Jones being off target, but a good afternoon's work despite the mistakes. But Halifax will need to improve next week when they face Hull Kingston Rovers away this afternoon at the Shea. Halifax 60, London Scholars 12.